Hello, this is Irina K and my channel AstroBabushka. I'm a Vedic astrologer and I apply ancient knowledge that is more than 3,000 years old to modern times. You can book your consultation with me through the link in the description box. Now, today I want to take you on a journey across philosophy, science, and astrology. A journey that connects Giordano Bruno, the visionary philosopher of the 16th century, with the most cutting-edge discoveries in quantum physics and with ancient wisdom of astrology. Let me start with a question. What if your life is not one single road, but a whole network of parallel roads? Some bright, some shadowy, some waiting to be chosen. The other day, I had a conversation with a friend who said that she doesn't feel like the life she's living is completely real, that there's a kind of derealization happening. I sometimes feel it too. At moments, it's as if I'm still in the city where I grew up. I even smell the same air, the same dry leaves in fall, but I'm not really there. It's hard to describe. It reminded me of the film Coherence, which explored parallel timelines and overlapping realities. When I first saw it years ago, it touched me on a very deep level because it mirrored that strange feeling of slipping between versions of your own life. Something both terrifying and magical. Bruno dared to suggest something very similar, that the universe is infinite, full of countless worlds, countless possibilities. He said there are as many suns as there are stars, and as many earths as there are suns. For this, he was burned at the stake in 1600s. But today, science is catching up. Quantum physics talks about superposition, parallel realities, and entanglement. And astrology, in its symbolic language, has always whispered about the same truths. That we are part of a living, infinite cosmos, and the stars mirror the many possibilities within us. Let's begin with the idea of coherence. In physics, coherence means when waves, light waves, sound waves, even thought waves, come into alignment. Imagine two violins playing the same note perfectly in tune. The sound becomes richer, more powerful, more resonant. That's coherence. Now compare that to everyday life. When your mind wants one thing, your emotions pull in another direction, and your actions go somewhere else. You feel scattered, weak, even lost. That's incoherence. But when thought, emotion, and action align, when you know what you want, you feel it fully, and you act accordingly, you enter coherence. You become powerful. Astrology shows this too. Think of Jupiter trining your sun, for example. Your will and your expansion are in harmony. Or Mercury conjunct Venus, your words and your heart sing the same tune. Coherence in astrology is when planetary energies resonate instead of clash. And coherence is not just personal. Families, societies, even nations can fall into resonance or into discord. When many people act in fear, confusion spreads. When many people align in vision, movements are born. So coherence is both a physical principle and a spiritual one. It is the harmony of frequencies. Now let's travel back to the late 1500s. Europe was still holding on to the idea of a small Earth-centered cosmos. But Giordano Bruno, a Dominican friar turned mystic philosopher, proclaimed something outrageous. that the universe is infinite, that every star is a sun, that there are infinite worlds, perhaps with beings like us. This was not astronomy as we know it. It was mystical intuition born from meditation and vision, but it was too radical for his time. Bruno's words threatened the order of the Church. He was condemned and burned in Rome's Campio di Fiori. Yet, centuries later, telescopes proved him right. Science confirmed that the stars are indeed suns, many with their own planets. Bruno saw it without instruments through his inner vision of infinity. And here's the key. Bruno wasn't only talking about outer worlds. He was also hinting at inner worlds, parallel realities, possibilities of consciousness. In that sense, Bruno was closer to quantum physics and to astrology than to his own era. Now, let's link Bruno's vision with modern quantum physics. Quantum mechanics says that every particle exists in many possible states until it observed. This is called superposition. And one interpretation, the many worlds interpretation, suggests that all possibilities exist simultaneously in parallel realities. Think about that. Every choice you make may create a new branch of reality. In one, you stay in your hometown. In another, you move abroad. In one, you say yes. In another, you say no. All branches exist. Now look at astrology. Every chart shows multiple possibilities as well. Your Saturn can be the weight of depression or the foundation of discipline and wisdom. Your Venus can be shallow pleasure or deep love. Which reality manifests depends on your choices, your consciousness, your coherence, your environment. And I want to add something personal here and a little bit difficult because it matters for the way we use astrology. I do research into serial killers now, not out of morbid fascination, but because I want to understand and, if possible, help prevent. When I study the charts of darkest perpetrators, I don't see a single fixed fate. I see painful configurations, yes, violent potentials, deep fractures in psyche and circumstance, but I also see the architecture of possibility. Even in those charts, there are nodes that could be reclaimed, channels for protection, for insight, for transformation. No single placement makes someone a criminal. These are only risk signatures seen repeatedly in charts of offenders. The same placements in another person could manifest as inner suffering, not outward crime. By the way, many saints, healers, and artists also have challenging placements, but sublimated into higher creativity. So we see here that difficult placements at birth doesn't excuse crimes or minimize the horror. It simply means that terrible energies in a chart are not metaphysical sentences written in stone. They are signals. And signals can be read by clinicians, guardians, and systems that intervene early. This is why I insist that astrology be used ethically as a tool for early warning, for mental health support, for preventing tragedies, not as a way to label or stigmatize people. The darkest charts can teach us where society failed, where trauma was unhealed, and where interventions might have altered a timeline. That is the redemptive possibility I look for in my work, turning patterns that once produced harm into knowledge that protects humanity. Now let's take another principle, entanglement. In physics, entanglement means two particles remain connected no matter the distance. If one particle changes, the other instantly reflects it, even light years apart. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. Astrology is built on this principle. The moment of your birth, that snapshot of planets and stars becomes entangled with you. It doesn't cause your life, but it mirrors and resonates with it. When the moon eclipses the sun, the entire collective feels it because we are entangled with the cosmic rhythm. When Mars retrogrades, we all see aggression, accidents, and disputes spike, not because Mars forces it, but because human consciousness is wired into that resonance. This is why astrologers say, as above, so below, it is the ancient language of entanglement. So let's put this together. Quantum coherence is yogic samadhi when mind and cosmos resonate. Parallel worlds is karmic timelines in astrology, and entanglement says, as above, so below. 3 languages, 1 truth. Bruno's mystical vision, physics, mathematical formulas, astrology's symbolic map, all describe the same infinite web. Astrology is not an outdated superstition. It is an ancient science of coherence. It gives us a map of how our personal frequencies interact with cosmic frequencies. And when we align, when we live in coherence with our chart rather than against it, we feel the flow of life as support, not resistance. So, what does it mean for us? We should use charts as a map of possibilities, not as a trap. Look for moments of coherence, planetary windows where thought, feeling, and action align, and choose to step into those currents. Here's the invitation. See your chart not as a prison, but as a set of possible realities. See the planets not as dictators, but as frequencies waiting to be tuned. See coherence as the key, the way to choose the higher branch of your karmic tree. Bruno risked everything to declare that the universe is infinite. Today, quantum physics confirms it. Astrology has always whispered it in the background, that you are infinite too, woven into the fabric of the cosmos. If this resonated with you, leave a comment, especially if you want a future video where I translate these ideas into practical transit work, or where I talk more about ethical methods for using astrology in violence prevention and mental health contexts. Share, subscribe, and let's keep the conversation alive. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.